Hey guys, welcome to another live coding session. And today we are going to be building an AI powered task planner app. The tech stack we are going to be using is going to be Next.js and OpenAI APIs for handling the AI part. So let's get started. So before we start, I would really like to know you guys more. So if you guys can comment, you know, what kind of experience you have, what kind of background you have, what kind of technologies you are interested in or are working in, that will be great. So please go ahead and comment down below. All right, let's get started. So basically what I'm trying to do today is trying to build an AI powered task planner. So basically the idea is very simple that this is a AI powered task planner app that allow users to generate tasks based on a natural language description, right? So for example, I have to take groceries, or it can be I have to complete this feature, and this feature include this, and basically our task planner will create multiple tasks for it, right? So that is basically the idea. Let's get started, right? And I also have like this requirements dot MD file here, which is you can see like the description, an AI powered task planner app that allows user to generate tasks based on a natural language description of a task. And the app should be able to do all the common functionality, right? So first is the main chunk, which is the generate task based on a natural language description of a task. Then allow users to edit, view, delete, mark them as complete, incomplete, and all that. And here is the tech stack, which is front end, Next.js API wrote, and all that, right? Database, we are not going to be using any database right now on the cloud or anything. We are just going to be using the local storage, right? So yeah, that's one thing. And for processing like AI functionality, we are going to be using OpenAI API, right? So now let's get started. All right, so I have the the cursor. Let's set up an Next.js project using cursor, right? So I'm just gonna paste this requirement. No, if I paste the requirements, I actually going to create the whole project. We don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is, instead of that, I'm just going to go here and say yarn create next app dot. And what basically dot means is that create the next app in this directory. So I'm just going to delete this requirements.md. Says yarn not found, whatever. Actually, I keep like changing my Node.js versions, and maybe in this version the yarn is not installed. But let's to create next app. Okay, to proceed. All right, so it's asking, should we use TypeScript? Yes. Which linter you like to use? None for now. Yes. Would you like? No. No. I mean, yes, on the app router turbo pack. Yes. No. And it's basically installing the dependency, right? Um, and the other idea is basically doing this live coding session on this channel was that I want to show you guys end-to-end pipeline, how as a software developer or a software engineer, um, we build and go ahead and build these apps, and the issues that we run into and how we solve those issues, how our workflow look like. So yeah, I hope you like the video, and if you can give me 100 likes on this video, then I want to do an actual live video, so like a live stream where you guys can also chat and all that. So yeah, so give a thumbs up whenever you can, and help me reach 100 likes on this video, right? So this is here, it's set it up. Let's run this. So npm run dev. I started the project, right? So now let's go to the browser. So the browser that I'm using is Dia, so localhost 3000, and you can see the next app is already set up here. Um, Now we can go two different route. The first one is build the front end, and the second one is build the back end, right? Um, let's actually build the backend first, and then we can go ahead and build the front end. And also in front end, I want to use more vibe coding, more, using the cursor agent to create the front end. So for backend, I want to write code myself. I do that, and the reason I do that is because I feel like UI is much more easier for, you know, cursor agents to write code about, and also we can also, like, in if the because in this app, the UI is like very minimal, right? So it's not a very big project with like hundred of pages and all that. If I had 100 pages in this application, maybe I would have written the even the front end from even the front end without using cursor. But because it's a minimal project, cursor can handle that, and in the meantime, I can write the backend. Right. So let's go ahead and create a route here. So I'm gonna just call it generate, and basically the idea behind this route is that we can send a natural language prompt to this, and then this can generate tasks, this can plan tasks and give us the list of those tasks, right? So I'm actually going to create a requirements.md here again, right? And this is the one sec. This is the requirement, right? So all right, so the app should be able to generate tasks based on natural language description of tasks, right? So basically the way flow will work is user input, right? App generates a list of tasks, right? Also, user can provide another option, which is, do you want to go all in? For example, user can also provide an option um, to control how many tasks are generated, right? So what you can basically say is like, minimal. We can change the name afterward. We can say minimal, or we can say enough, right? Or we can say, detailed, right? So in if you pass minimal as an option, it will only generate like couple of tasks. If you provide enough, it will try to maybe generate like 4 to 5 tasks. And detail, it can go in details and try to describe the tasks in detail, right? So that is the idea. Let's see how that works out. So this is the API. Now let's create the API here. So I'm just going to say route.ts. In Next.js, if you are inside a folder and you create a route.ts, that basically becomes an API route, right? So let's write code here. X, let's import, right? Export the sync function post, right? And we'll just have description here, await request.json, great. And then we are going to say const response. So now we are going to be using OpenAI. So for that, we need to install the OpenAI package. Let's ask, and that's like one way I use agents, and agents, or like, cursor, is that I ask like what needs to be done in order for me to use, certain packages and all that, right? So I want to integrate OpenAI call into my Next.js project. What should I do? Alright, so it's basically going and reading package and all that. Also, like read the requirement.md. So first and foremost, we have to install the OpenAI SDK. Then we need the OpenAPI key, right? And based on your requirement, you can do all these things, right? But let's not worry about it. Let's just first just install OpenAPI, right? So let's run this. So you can just click on this run button here. I'm going to click it. and it basically installed it OpenAI. That is great. Now I just need the OpenAPI key in my env file. So let me just do that off camera. So I have provided my OpenAPI key in the env file now. So now let's actually start using this. So first and foremost, we have to initialize OpenAI here. It's const OpenAI equal to new OpenAI API key process.env.openai API key, right? And go ahead and also import it. OpenAI from API. And I also use cursor tab a lot, right? So right now it's giving me suggestion and just hit tab and it do most of the work for me. So for example, response, and now you can, basically see that it is giving me another, you know, uh, recommendation, but let's just write it by ourselves. So openai.chat.completion.create, right? And here you can basically provide a model. So let's say GPT-4o mini, and you can provide a list of messages, right? Um, and that is basically, so for example, the role is basically, it can be system, it can be user, it can be assistant, and this is basically, who sent the message. And when I say system, that means that this will be like going to the system, going to the assistant, not be shown to the user. And you can basically describe like a personality for this call, like, or the like you can basically define like a personality, or define like how should the assistant reply back, right? So in our case, you are a helpful assistant generate task based on natural language description of a task, right? So this is like pretty good for me. And then you can provide a role and then the content as description, right? So I'm going to do a little bit more than that. So instead of this, we're going to do something like this. So yeah, so description, and we are going to send this as a message to the like to the OpenAI LLM, GPT LLM, right? Generally list of tasks that are based on the description, right? Now the other thing we can also provide is the level, which can be detailed, or detailed, what was it, minimal enough or detailed, right? So we'll do that. Okay, so this is the level. Level can be one of the following: minimal generate lists that are based on this description. So minimal generate, keep the, right, so keep the list of tasks minimal and concise. Here it will be keep the list task enough to be able to complete the task, and keep the list of tasks detailed and comprehensive, right? Written the list of tasks in JSON format, or I can even say in a like JSON format, in an array of strings, right? Because that's what we basically need, right? And all right, so let's do that. Then we have const task, and we will just basically get the response from that. Choices 0 dot message dot content. I don't know why it did that, so I'm not going to do that, and we'll just figure it out. So I think the reason it did is so split, and basically because it's an array, we'll just split at the new line and then just filter using boolean, but just don't need that right now. We'll see. We'll see. All right. So that, and we just return, right, JSON and a task. Now let's try to hit this API and see if things work. I'm going to create a route.http file here. I'm just gonna do post slash, it should not be API, it should be just generate. And then should be content type application and description. I want to learn how to code, level detail, right? Let's send this request. It's waiting. Also in the comments, you guys can just go ahead and tell me like what kind of videos do you want me to create, or what kind of live coding sessions you want, or what kind of projects you want me to create, right? And I can make more videos about it, right? So it give so it gave us a very pretty like detailed list of like what should we do, define what you want to achieve by learning to code, choose a programming language to start with, this research online, this is this, and you can see like it sent us like in this like JSON format, but we if we want to actually convert this into array, we have to basically parse it, right? But there is a better option. I'll show you that in a bit, but before that I want to test this. So but if I said minimal, right, and I'll hit the request. It's waiting. Okay, so choose a program and learn, find a whatever, complete code actions, build a simple project, apply what you learned, right? So sent us like a very small list of tasks if we provided the level as minimal. So it's working as we expected, right? Again, just to go through this once more, basically what we did is we created an API, take description level as the parameters in the body. Then in the messages we sent the role as we told the system that you are a helpful assistant that generates a task based on the natural language description of the task. Then we had the user. We sent a message as a user. Description we provided whatever we got from the front end. Then asked LLM to generate a list of tasks that are based on the description. We provided the level, and then we also told it like what the level can be, and then asked it to return the list of tasks in the array of string, which it is doing, but we have to parse it, right? And I don't want to parse it, right? So let's ask ChatGPT if I can make this work, right? So I'm going to actually start a new chat here. How can uh, I ensure that I always get an array of string, right? So it's actually just gonna read the um, I could have just attached the context, but I'm a very bad habit of just like um, just ask it whenever and wherever I want without like providing context. So it gave us a couple of approaches. Let's see, five approaches actually. Parse JSON, so you can either parse the JSON, um, or you can say use structure. You can basically tell OpenAI, to use structured output, right? And let's see if that works. Like I want to use that. So basically what happens is that we'll say response format is this, and then I think it will be able to give us the results in the JSON format. The other thing is, can I provide a schema? Provide a schema when providing response format as JSON, because that would be great. Like if we can just provide a schema, right? Let's see. So you can actually provide a response format like this. Hmm. Okay, can you search the web and find more recent version? Because I think you can actually provide like a Zord schema, but let's see if I'm correct or not. Just searching the web now. You can also actually go ahead and just check it out. Not ChatGPT, OpenAI documentation response format. So you have structure model output. So key update that you can actually use JSON schema, not just JSON object. And all right, let's see if that works here. Text format, use case supported schema. We have this. Okay. All right, so you can actually provide like schema like this. Great. Or you can use the Zod response format. That's what I was talking about. Can't I just use Zod? I want to use Zod because that is a more pragmatic way of using, you know, the schema, because you can actually define the schema and then just pass it to the, you know, API, right? So it's basically showing me how I can do that. It's not actually saying what I wanted. Hmm. Root object. Note that root level of schema must be an object and the unsuccessful response schema. JSON schema, file schema, whatever. Um, all right, let's paste this code. I think then it will be able to maybe answer. So that's what it is saying. So you get Zod developer experience with OpenAI structured outputs guaranteed. This is a more recent feature that bridges Zod and OpenAI perfect. Yeah, so we can actually just define this as a format in Zod and just pass it. So let's just install Zod, npm install Zod. And that is why I like live coding sessions, because now I run into this, and if I'm making like a normal video, maybe I don't even show you these nuances, right? And I think it's very important for everybody to understand what goes behind the scene, right? Not just what you see on YouTube or, you know, people doing. I think this is a very good learning experience, right? So okay, so I installed Zod. All right, so let's go ahead and import Z from Zod, import Zod response format, right? And now let's go ahead and define that here, right? So the schema that I want is this const task schema, which is going to be a string, an array of string, right? Which is what we want. And I can just go ahead and say um, response format, response format, right? And it will not be actually here, it should be here, right? Um, and then this will be changed to message.passed, right? Does not exist. So I'm going to ask. Okay, so I'm running into this error that what do you need to pass the JSON? What if, so it's saying if I use this model, then required for structure output. So what if I use this? Passport work with the GPT doesn't support the. Okay, let's do that. If I make this change here, that still doesn't solve this problem. And I'm using let's use the workspace version, and then it works. So I was using the VS Code. No, it still doesn't work. Let's do this instead of uh, sending the past. I'll send the whole message, and let's see how that, you know, works out. So I think we're good to go here, and this is going to send the request now. Send request, it's waiting. And I get internal server error. Why? Invalid schema for response format task. Schema must be a JSON schema of type object got type array. All right, so it should not be like this. It should be uh, z dot object, which will have tasks, which will be like this, right? And dot describe the list of tasks to be completed, and describe, no, not let's not describe this. So list of tasks to be completed, this is the this, right? Now let's hit the API again. Okay, so we get something. So what we get is basically content. We don't get the past. We just got the content. Task, choose a programming language to do this, right? I'm pretty sure that I can use the parsed property, you know, but it's not really sending me that, which is okay. The other thing is, you see, like it says task and then role assistant and then sends the content and all that. And so let's do one thing. So let's output the whole response, let's see how that works out. I think it's going to be big, yes. So send me the whole thing, choices, message, usage, and everything, right? So choices, message, role is assistant, and it is giving me this property. I'm pretty sure I can get the pass to work. Let's see. Messages dot parsed OpenAI Node.js SDK. Um, right. So one second. Okay, let's search for parsed or dot parsed. Let's say JSON mode, right? So type turn on JSON mode. You can set the text or format to, if you're using function call, JSON mode is always turned on. Um, so you have to say text equal to format type JSON object. I haven't set that. I set response format. Okay. Use case example, API usage. Let's change it to JavaScript. Okay, so you have to do something like this. So you use the model and then you say text format. And that is why sometimes cursor or using AI tools is not the best option. So you have to fall back to the good old research, right? Like developer research. Most probably it will work. Let's see. Um, so we'll just say text. It's saying I can't provide the text. So how it is using the text? New OpenAI. I'm doing the same thing. Maybe I have like a older version of OpenAI. Let's see, OpenAI NPM 2 days ago. No, it's the latest version. All right, so chain of structure data extraction. So you can actually say research paper extraction and you can just use this object input. Oh, so it says API.responses.parse. So it's a totally different API. Let's do that. It's a totally different API. It's not in the so open API dot dot responses dot parse, right? Now, okay, so now let's say format, and also I think messages will become input, right? And the format will become um, XOR text format, XOR text format, XOR text format, right? Which is tasking my task, right? Now let's see if that works, right? And I am going to just hit the request and it's waiting and I get something and you can see the pass, right? So there is a pass dot task now. So I can just go ahead and response. It is res tasks and output text, and there is output text. There is output parsed. Yeah, that's what we need. So output parsed dot tasks, right? And that we will basically get, and it's going to be passed to the front end. Let's hit this one more time. It's waiting. And I think we don't even need the um, this return the list of task and array of string, because now it already have like the format that we provided. So let's see if that works out. So I'm going to actually remove this. So let's just go ahead and remove this. And again hit the API. Now the API is taking a bit more time than before, is because I guess the because we are also parsing and all that, and I think we are also using a more powerful model now, right? Choose one language, start with, find this and that. Okay, great. I can also just keep using mini. I think it will still work. Let's hit it once again. um all right, so it created a task, right? Okay, I think we are able to create the list of tasks now, right? Let's try to come up with the front end, right? So I think we are almost done with the backend part. Let's actually go ahead and create the front end, right? So I'm going to create a new chat here and ask it to generate the UI for us. But before that, I'll basically connect my charger here. Yeah, I think we're good now. So let's go ahead and ask it. And now we can use the requirement document here. So I can just say the app should be able to do this. Um, I already have the API route to, generate tasks. Also, choose between minimal enough and detailed task generation, right? Already have the API route to generate tasks. Just need to create a front end, right? Okay. So I was like in the ask mode, I changed it to agent mode now. So let's see. So they already, so it's from the user carry. So it's basically going through everything that I just said and trying to create the front end, right? Let's see. It is planning Next.js app. There's already an API route and all that. There is a requirement file. It read the requirement file. Great. There is already a post route requirement. One other thing I want, do don't create APIs for tasks because we are going to use local storage as the storage, right? Great. Still doing everything. So it's now creating a to-do list that it will basically go through. All right. So the list is very long, and I'll basically fast forward to, once this is done. All right. So no, this is very interesting. So I think it's done, and it created a lot of these files related to, um, right? And it also created some components. So it looks pretty good. Now let's see if it actually worked. And let's go to our browser. And yeah, I mean, this looks really good, right? Um, Better than I expected, to be honest. And also, like, gave us this detail level, select component, right? Now let's actually inspect and see what kind of, and see like if it also integrated the API hit, right? So I'm just going to go here and say learn React, or let's say learn Next.js step by step, right? And let's make it detailed and click on generators. So it actually hits the generate API, which is a very good thing. Now let's see. Okay, so created 17 tasks here, you can see. And you can go from here, like start by understanding the basic of React.js, set up local development, navigate to the project, implement a global state, and also cherry on the top, it created us a progress bar, right? So I can just go ahead and click one of these and it will like, get completed, which is a good thing, right? And also like the UI, I think it's really great, and it can also like clear the completed. And let me reload this, and it will keep the tasks, right? Because everything is stored in the local storage, right? Great. Let's say plan a travel, plan a vacation to Japan, right? Let's say enough. Click on generate tasks, but go to the API and determine travel dates, set a budget, research destination, book flight to Japan, choose book accommodations, requirement, make sure to have travel show for the trip, right? So now this is good, and I can also like edit this if I want to, right? And delete also work. So that is good. So I mean, it actually got the it actually was able to nail the UI in the first time, right? So yeah, I mean that is really great. And yeah, I mean here you have like, so I can just go ahead and ask it to do anything, how to build a model house, and I can just keep it minimal, click on generate task, and we'll try to generate task, right? Um, and yeah, and the so yeah, I mean, I think one problem is that like, because when I clicked on generate task, it actually added task here. So design the gather like material, design the layout, cut the material, and all that. So, and yeah, I mean and yeah, that is pretty much this, right? So we created this AI task planner using OpenAI, Cursor, and a little bit of research, right? And that is like my motive behind live coding session, that I don't want to create videos where I don't show you behind the scenes. So I want to show you behind the scenes, like how actually all these projects come together end to end, from the research, from the planning to and delivering it, basically building the whole project altogether, right? And yeah, if you like these kind of videos, I want to do more live coding sessions and also more live streams. So yeah, uh, share this video, give it a like. If I get 100 likes on this video, I will do a live stream. So yeah, share this video, like this video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next live coding session.